Welcome to another episode of Carl's Trades. Bit of a short one this time. Just want to update you on the things we've been doing while we've been waiting for our parts to come back from Parks. So I'll just show a few things we've been doing in the interim, and we'll talk a little bit about the engines we're putting in this, and we'll go and have a look at the 620 class, which they're coming off as well. But most importantly, I want to show you the excellent work that John's actually been doing in the cabs, and you'll see where we're being moving along.
So we'll do a bit of a walkthrough. This is the first class end, so the number 2 end of the vehicle. We have all of the parts laid out from ones that came from Cara. These are all these plated parts. You can see the painting that John's been doing. So we'll walk through, and yeah, we'll walk up to the cab, and we'll show the rest of the work that's actually been going on up here, where the bulk of it's been happening. Yeah, you can see the cab repaint's well underway. We've got the gloss white ceiling with the cream walls. In the right hand corner is where the bell goes. Put that back. See, we've got the air brake gauges in, which will pipe back up. Driver's desk has been repainted. We have the master controller for it. Right hand side, driver's panel is out, but it's being repainted. It's just sitting here. You'll see it in a second. I think we talked about the fact that we removed the electrical panels to provide more space for the driver's new seat. We will repaint all of this and reroute that wiring somewhere else. The other piece of work which John has been doing has been repainting and replacing all of these window sills. Some of them were a bit water damaged, fortunately not too bad. Some of them were missing, but yeah, John's actually replaced them, sanded them back, painted them, and they look exceptional, certainly compared to what it looked like previously. See, we still have parts of the lining out. Yes, we've discovered a lot of the water problems were due to drains. Really has been the major issue on these, so we've sorted most of that out and it doesn't seem to leak anymore. This is the number 1 in cab. Last time you saw it, it would have actually had a full air conditioning control panel in it. Now we've actually removed that and gave it a bit of a clean up behind. So this wiring we're going to reroute into the so possibly into the main vestibule, or even directly opposite. I can see a spot we can actually mount the any air conditioning control panels. Let's have a look around. We're doing too much work on this cab. We've just done basics. Obviously got a new window, but a fair bit of work needs to be done in here, but we will certainly get to that shortly. Now we've got this huge electrical panel out. John will get in here and work his magic. So I go for a bit of a walk down. Have a look at the 620 class, which is the donor for the motors and transmissions. Before everybody gets upset though, these are well past, and they were actually used for stripped very heavily for parts to keep 631, 731 going and to restore it. This is MPF 625. One of the last in service actually. As you can see, there's not a lot left of it. Well, what is actually left of it, very fortunately, is the engines. So there you go. Cummins NT855. The major difference between this 620 class engines and the 1200 class, of course, is the transmissions were slightly different, and the transmission on a 620 class is directly coupled to the engine, whereas on a 1200 class it came through a secondary cardan shaft arrangement. However, we're going to keep the same arrangements that are in the 620 class. Torians in the DRCs actually modified the engine mounts on the 1200 class to directly mount them to the underframe, much the same as the 620 class as well. So that's probably the way we're going to do it. As you can see, air brake equipment, transmission. You see all the miscellaneous engine pieces, the exhaust and the air intake. What else do we have? Oh, yep, the cooling system for a 620, which is vastly different to a 1200, of course. And these were actually fitted with cab air conditionings, and this appears to be the condensers for that. But if we jump down this end, we can see that one of the engines has already been removed. This actually engine was pulled out of 625, it was put into 631. The original from 625 is sitting over next to our container actually, so that's it's going to need a bit of a rebuild, or we might swap it and see if we can get another one. But certainly is another transmission. But as you can see down there, the other thing we have, of course, are the final drives. The downside of it is that the axles are actually very different between a 1200 class and a 620 class. So we're going to need to do something about obtaining axles. That's one challenge we actually do have. The Type 8 final drives, which are the same as the 1200 class, but I'm not even sure if the Victorian axles are going to be compatible, even if we're able to obtain some from the Victorian Railways for the DRCs, because I've got some paperwork, I've got all the drawings and the modifications that the Victorian Railways did to the 1200s, and it does appear that the Victorians actually put Voith final drives in them, so not sure the axles are still compatible. It's something we should need to find out, but worst comes to worst, we'll have some manufactured, but that isn't going to be cheap, that's for sure. For a bit of a walk, and we're going to have a look at that other engine. Well, while we're out here, this is our engine. It's probably going to need a bit of a rebuild, or we'll swap it out for something. But this is actually, as you can see, engine and transmission. This is the spare that came at 625. So I think this is the original one that came out at 631. And at some point it was swapped with the other one. But that's okay. That can be easily fixed. At least we have one. This week, lots happening. Hopefully we'll get our parts in from Parks, and thus we can get the lift done and we can start bolting things up under floor, and certainly tackle some of the wiring. A lot of rewiring has to be done in this, as I'm sure you can imagine, but we'll get stuck into that over the next few months. So, see you again.